purpose of the team was to analyze the new hospital and healthcare service project being constructed on South 1st Street and West Windsor Road in Champaign, Illinois, and suggest the optimal way to increase productivity and reduce the duration of the project. The team focused on a specific construction task, finishing the work of a concrete dwarf wall around the exterior of the building. This task was carried out by 5 crew members: a cutting worker, rough finisher, mortar uprighter, grout sprayer, and a driller. The team then studied 1 foreman and 4 workers to carry out these tasks and found the cycle time to be 120 seconds by analyzing the crew balance chart. The team also used flow diagrams and process charts to examine the flow of people and material. Based on RS means, the cost of 1 cycle was computed to be $15.10. The team then analyzed 3 ways of increasing productivity. First, prioritizing critical path and reducing the duration, which led to a cost of $7.86 per cycle. Second, reducing the number of workers, which would cost $12.10 per cycle. And third, by adding more tools, which would cost $13.47. Based on the cost savings, the team recommended that the first method was the most optimal. It should be noted that all measures and precautions were taken during the research to ensure the safety of all team members.
This project is located down the northeast corner of South 1st Street and West Windsor Road, Champaign. It's near the southern boundary of University of Illinois. The construction of this project, a new hospital and healthcare service, is regarded as the first step to develop South Campus in the next few years. A company with a hotel, university private school, and other facilities. It will be used to serve home, research park, and university employees. This area will become prosperous with further development. Typical construction activities involved in this project are excavation work, concrete work, steel work, and so on. The specific construction activity we are researching for predictive analysis is finishing work for concrete dwarf wall around the outside of building. There are 5 members in this crew to fulfill this activity. Each laborer was assigned specific work such as cutting concrete, rubber finishing, applying mortar, spraying grout, and drilling.
Total number of 5 workers, 4 equipments and tools were observed. 1 foreman and 4 laborers spraying grout, cutting concrete, rubbing finish, and patching void on the fresh concrete wall. Instead of giving instruction, foremen assisted laborers' work during the whole process. We created the crew balance chart based on the recorded video. In the crew balance, we used 5 seconds as an interval. In the current situation, foreman was sprinkling water on the wall, labor 4 was carrying the bucket, and labor 3 just finished his patchwork. Labor 2 was still working on the rubbing finish, and the labor 1 was idle after shoveling. Cycle time for current operation was found to be 190 seconds, which is 3 minutes and 10 seconds. We recorded many videos from different perspectives and different time periods to make more accurate calculations. Rubbing finish work was taking whole cycle time and still on the progress after 1 cycle. Carrying bucket is fixed to be about 5 seconds. Also, mixing concrete by workers took 20 seconds.
The diagram is a land sketch that shows the layout of the job site and the movements of people or things. The process chart is a chronologically arranged listing of the various steps in an operation. 5 commonly used symbols for process chart are shown in this table. Flow diagram and process chart are often used together to analyze situations in which an operation is processed in succeeding steps. We created a flow diagram and process chart for the operation. As we can see in the flow diagram, the operation is proceeding from west to east, with cutting concrete starting first and fine finishing at last. The mortar and water are stored in the adjacent trailer truck, and then they are delivered to laborers by barrel and water bucket. Also, the generator is on the east side of the job site to provide power for the grinder and the driller.
The cycle time is 4 minutes. So there are 15 typical cycles performed in 1 hour. The cost for current cycle is calculated based on the newest RS means data. And the cost for foreman is 20% higher, which is $54 per hour. Therefore, the total resulting hourly cost for the existing operation is $226.5, and the hourly output of the operation is 15 square feet per hour. So the productivity of the existing operation is 6 square feet per man-hour.
There were major problems which reduced the productivity of the process. Firstly, the number of workers were more than required, which resulted in long idle times. More labor were dedicated to non-critical activities than critical activities, leading to availability of workspace problems. Drilling activity was slower with respect to shoveling activity, which required removing of scraped concrete. Therefore, 2 workers ended working in a congested space at one point of time. There was no site preparation done before the commencement of the process. A pickup truck was parked a meter distance from the area where workers were working. Also, the wooden planks of the formwork, unused tools, empty boxes were lying here and there on the site. The labor cutting the extra concrete had to stop in between and ask for help from other laborers to remove the big obstacles. The cutting of concrete and then rub polishing by power-driven machine resulted in lot of air particle in the work zone. However, no mask or other safety measures were taken to counter these issues. In fact, it resulted in lower productivity because other laborers were maintaining the distance to avoid air particles from entering. It was also observed that some laborers were eating snacks, talking on phone due to the lack of discipline and supervision in the construction site. Today we are going to talk about the implementation of the proposed plans and the cost associated to it. In this section we have analyzed productivity aiming to solve critical path issues, location-based management issues while attempting to increase productivity by reducing the duration and the cost of the work. The cutting of extra concrete and the rough finish was a critical path which was necessary to be done before other tasks. Therefore, in the plan, we allocated 2 laborers to work on cutting first and then help other members of the crews. We plan to provide extra power-driven concrete cutting equipment and rough finishing equipment so that 2 labor can work on it simultaneously. This has significantly reduced the time from 3 minutes to 3.167 minutes, which is 20% reduction in time to complete the work. Selection of correct work allocation according to their labor rate has further contributed to substantial cost cutting from 15.10 to 7.86 per cycle cost. This provides 48% reduction in the cost of the process.
To improve the productivity of our workers, one of the idea that we came up with was to reduce the number of workers that we were using for the task. So for doing so, we analyzed the activities that each worker was doing, and we tried to find out the 2 workers that were found to be idle for most of the time. So after doing the analysis, we found that foreman and worker 4 were idle for most of the time. So we decided to get rid of with worker 4 and make foreman do the activities that were supposed to be done by worker 4. By doing so, our productivity improved from 6 square feet per man hour to 7.5 square feet per man hour. In addition, we also saved up some cost because our cost per cycle reduced from $15 a cycle to just $12 a cycle, which is a big difference. Our cost per hour also reduced from about $220 an hour to $180 per hour. So in this way, we managed to improve the productivity of our workers and saved on the cost as well.
In this proposed improvement, we aim at parallelizing some of operations. As we observe in the whole process is in a linear fashion. Another observation we made is that the concrete cutting has much higher productivity than its following operation, concrete rough finishing with grinder. Also can be told in the recorded videos. Very often, concrete fine finishers wait for the rough finishers, and there are more fine finishers than actually needed. In this case, we add one more concrete grinder and assign one of the fine finisher to rough concrete finishing. These will change the cycle time from 4 minutes to 3 minutes and a half, making the concrete cutting becomes the critical operation to one cycle. Also, even though we assign labor 4 to concrete rough finishing, we also assign part of the fine finishing jumping. That's we're still choosing the higher rate, which is $45 an hour for him. Equipment hourly cost is calculated as a daily cost divided by 8 hours. In this proposed plan, the productivity increased from 6 square feet man-hour to 6.85 square feet man-hour, and total cost of the one cycle reduced to from $15.10 per cycle to $13.37 per cycle.
Odebrecht pays special attention towards health and safety of its employees. For this reason, I was asked to meet the site superintendent before visiting the job site, and I took special permission for doing the video recording activity on the site. I also asked him about the potential risks and hazards and for their respective solutions. And in a small debriefing before entering the job site, I told all my team members about the safety steps. I also made sure that all the team members who were visiting the job site were in proper attire, like they were wearing hard hats, steel toe boots, and gloves. We also made sure that all the team members were checked in and checked out on the security entrance of the job site. I was also responsible for making sure that all the team members who were doing the recording activity were at least 50 feet away from the construction activity in progress.
When looking into the current cycle for the analyzed activity, some aspects require immediate action and improvement, as the cost per hour to perform this activity may not be a feasible one. 3 possible solutions were proposed for the current task. For the first proposal, we have analyzed productivity aiming to solve critical path issues, location-based management issues while attempting to increase productivity by reducing the duration of the cost of work. As for the second proposal, we suggest to reallocate worker 4 into another activity and make the foreman do his task, as both of them have a lot of idle time as suggested by the original crew balance chart in figure T. The third and final proposal goes about parallelizing some of operations as we observe the whole process in a linear fashion, including facts of some tasks having higher productivity than others, more workers than needed or less than required. This activity assessment shows that no matter how simple an activity may be, there will always be methods to significantly improve the productivity rate of any kind of construction activity, which in the long term is translated into important money savings for any construction. But a fact that needs to be understood is that in real life situations, you may have the best tools and the best process, but you have to always make sure that the crew performing the task is a disciplined one with the proper supervision if required.